On today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, we're going to be talking about Paramount CEO might be resigning as early as today. Hell, I don't even know. If we check the news, he might have resigned already. Kung Fu Panda 4 crosses $500 million. Deadpool and Wolverine are doing reshoots. Will it delay the July release date of the movie, has some people asking. Mufasa the Lion King has dropped its first trailer. Kraven the Hunter, surprise, has been delayed again by about 4 months, that and a whole bunch more. So greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming to you from right here in our quaint little studio, brought to you today in part by our friends at Miracle Made and Harry's. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news, TV and streaming, and all sorts of good stuff. Not just giving you our opinions, but hopefully giving you some information and context so you guys can form your own well-informed opinions, whether they're the same or even different than ours. Joining me in studio today, I got Ray Ora.
We back, baby.
Got Jonathan Voikos here.
Hello, everybody.
Writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett is here.
We have some breaking news.
Oh, we do? What is that?
Jeff Bridges is in Tron Ares.
Oh, he is going to appear in
Just
Tron
dropped
Ares.
on Deadline. Just dropped on Deadline.
Ooh.
Ooh, yeah. That means it's legit, people.
He was also in Tron Legacy.
That wasn't so legit. He was CG'd, but it wasn't.
Some of
they
it
can
was
do it
CG.
better now.
They
No.
can do it better
But he
now.
was good, and he was good as his character.
Well, I always like Jeff Bridges. He's the
Yeah.
dude. He
He's
can be.
the dude.
He can do no wrong.
I would love to see the dude in the Tron world.
Well, we'll see what happens.
This light cycle ties the whole room together.
Guys, here's how today's show's going to go. We're going to break it into two parts. The first part of the show, we're going to talk about those topics that I already listed off. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. Now, normally what we do is we say, you guys can go ahead and use the Super Chat feature. However, the Super Chats filled up before we even started the show. So Super Chats are now turned off, but all of you who sent in those questions before the show even started, we will get to those in the second part of the show. Look, yesterday, I had an interesting day, guys. Yesterday, very interesting. Woke up in the morning, Anna and I went to Ren Fair, the Renaissance Fair, and it is every stereotype you've ever imagined a Ren Fair to be.
Did you dress up?
I did not.
Did Anne?
She did.
Oh.
She dressed as a fairy. She had the wings and the ears, and she looked beautiful. Of course, she looked beautiful. So we went there, ran into a few fans of the show, which was a lot of fun. Thank you to everybody who came up and said hi. But then we raced back here from Ren Fair so I could do a mid-afternoon open mic. And then as soon as open mic was over, we got in the car, drove back to LA, and went to see the Los Angeles Kings versus the Edmonton Oilers hockey game. Which,
Nice.
well done, Oilers, winning that game. They're up 3-1 now. But let's get to the reason we are here today, shall we? And we're going to start off with this. Paramount has been in the news a lot for some good stuff because they've been putting out some really good movies, but also for some unfortunate stuff. They are, as everybody understands, struggling. And right now they're trying to figure out a sale. You've got Skydance is trying to buy them. They're in a 30-day exclusive negotiating window with them right now. But you also have an alliance of Apollo and Sony trying to buy them too. But we've also heard rumblings of infighting going on over at Paramount, including maybe the CEO being in some hot water. Well, a new report is claiming that the CEO, Bob Bakish, isn't just in hot water. He may actually resign today. This is coming us from the folks over at IndieWire who wrote the following. Bob Bakish is expected to resign as Paramount Global CEO amid merger talks heating up with Skydance, IndieWire has learned, and according to multiple media sources. It's expected that Bakish, who has been with the company since 1997, that's a long stint at a company, could step down as early as Monday, which would be ahead of the company's earning calls on Monday afternoon. He was named CEO back in 2019, back when the company was called Viacom CBS. Reps for Paramount and Global declined comment. It is a shocking move that comes just as Skydance is closing in on its acquisition of Sherry Redstone's National Amusements, which may or may not happen, by the way. We'll get into that in a second. The theater company that holds 77% of the controlling shares of Paramount Global. Now, Bakish's recent tenure has been marred by not pursuing a potential $3 billion sale of Showtime The legacy networks such as CBS, MTV, VH1, BET, and Nickelodeon have continued to suffer in declining market for linear TV. Its credit rating was reduced to junk, and Paramount Plus remains far from profitability, with some analysts wondering if Paramount would have been better off not entering streaming and instead becoming a quote-unquote arms dealer. By the way, that's a phrase I quoted about the streaming wars for Sony. Anyway, licensing its content to other streamers. In 2019, Paramount market value was $25.3 billion, but is now just $8.4 billion. In 2019, Paramount's market value was $25.3 billion and is now just $8.4 billion. Now, a lot of people inside Paramount are upset with Backish, who may have been right and may have been wrong. I don't know, but they're upset that many times in the last number of years, there have been opportunities for Backish to divest Paramount of some of their not so profitable assets. This is from the Wall Street Journal that writes, on Labor Day weekend in 2020, former Showtime executive Mark Greenberg called Backish, who was driving home to Connecticut, and offered a deal that would leave Paramount with $3 billion in cash and a 25% remaining stake in the channel. This is just for Showtime, offering $3 billion for Showtime, and they still get to keep some of the owning interest. Backish declined, saying he had received larger offers in the past. I don't know that he did. A few months later, in March of 2021, Greenberg and investment giant Blackstone offered $5.5 to $6 billion in cash for Showtime. According to people familiar with the terms, under the proposed deal, former Disney executives would have joined the board. Then Paramount's top brass didn't pursue the offer. A few years later, another offer for Showtime came in, a more than $3 billion bid from David Nevins, the former head of the channel. Backish turned the offer down. And this, along with, some of the negotiations that Paramount feels that he's talking to the wrong people. Some people at Paramount feel that Backish is talking to the wrong people, not really entertaining the best deal for everybody. So right now, just put everybody, up on the same page. Paramount they're about halfway through now, I think, a 30-day exclusive negotiating window with Skydance for an offer that stands at around $3 billion plus $3 billion in cash and all this kind of stuff. There are a number of people at Paramount who don't want that sale going to Skydance. Some want to entertain an Apollo Sony offers that could or could not be coming, depending. So in the midst of all this, they're talking about Rob, the CEO, stepping down. Now, listen, I got to say, for a number of years, I've been really kind of impressed with Paramount as far as their content offerings. They've done a great job with their movies. Hell, even like everything Ray from, Top Gun, but also like little big winners like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And so they just continue to surprise. Smile. They continue to surprise and delight. But it's about more than that. And they're a big conglomerate company. Rob, you've been hearing about all this kind of stuff. You're reading the reports. What do you think about the possibility that Backish may actually have to resign? Maybe even today. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. What do you make of all this?
Well, look, again, I'm no expert on, I don't know how, Paramount has all these different things under its umbrella, like BET, like Nickelodeon, like all Showtime, all this stuff. And I don't know how that affects their bottom line, because I've mostly concentrated on Paramount, obviously on the Star Trek side, the TV streaming side, like Yellowstone, and then their feature films. And they were doing quite well. Like everything they were putting out was successful. I think that they jumped into streaming prematurely. I thought, John, like they were going to have some kind of an alliance with Netflix because Eddie Murphy and the Axel Foley, Beverly Hills Cop AF is a Netflix movie. And then they had done Dolomite Is My Name. And I really thought...
Love that movie.
I did too. It was great. Never mind. I won't get into my Rudy Ray Moore. But I thought that, like you said, what they say that you quoted the weapons manufacturer aspect.
Yeah, the arms dealer.
I thought an arms dealer race because, and Sony they didn't start a streaming service, and they've kept their options open to make films that can be put out elsewhere. But to team up with Netflix, I thought was a really great idea where they could have a conduit. They could release theatrically and have a direct conduit to Netflix. Mm-hmm. I thought that's what they should do rather than, everybody drank this streaming Kool-Aid. and they fell off a cliff of money being spent. And I think that Paramount, I mean, they were making deals. Yellowstone, their most the Sheridan verse, they had Sheridan verse deals over here and over there. It wasn't necessarily exclusive to Paramount. You remember that? What was going on with Yellowstone?
You had to go to one network to watch Yellowstone some seasons, then you had to go to another network to watch one of the
same
prequels.
Was true Star Trek. I mean, they finally brought Star Trek all over under one roof, and then they're like, well, no, we have to now license it out back to other people. And it's like, what are you guys doing?
No, they didn't. They need to make it like a Hulu tab like Disney Plus did. I understand Disney owns Hulu, but they need to do that. Pair up with somebody, and then there's your Paramount Plus tab to go in, through Amazon or Netflix or whatever.
And Skydance, look, the reason that I think Skydance, that I'm a fan of it, is it keeps Paramount autonomous as a studio, as a content provider. And Skydance has basically been financing Paramount's slate of films. They finance Top Gun, they finance Star Trek, they finance Mission Impossible, they finance Jack Ryan. So, I mean, all those, Skydance has been their de facto bank. So to allow, and you've got David Ellison, who loves movie making, the son of Oracle's Larry Ellison. Megan Ellison, his sister, has Annapurna. I mean, it's kind of like old school moguling back now. But I think that David Ellison and Skydance is a perfect group to own Paramount, because I think they love films over there. They want to make good movies and keep that Paramount legacy alive rather than part it out.
See, one of the things that why I understand, like, again, I have been a big advocate of the whole idea about a studio being an arms dealer. And that's what Sony basically did. Like, I remember at CinemaCon 1 or 2 years ago when they proclaimed from the stage, we're not getting into streaming.
Right.
We're going to do what we do best. We're going to create content. The reason I can kind of understand why Paramount decided to explore streaming with Paramount Plus was that they're not just a movie studio, right? Like, they've got CBS, they had Showtime, they had Nickelodeon, like
MTV.
MTV. They had a lot of places that they could mine content from for a streaming service, plus some big IPs you can try to build on the backs of, whether it's Yellowstone, Star Trek, whatever. But at the same time, you've pointed this out before, Rob, is that they were one of the later comers into the game. And because Disney had already had its foothold, Netflix is firmly entrenched, HBO Max has legacy. I mean, it was going to be a difficult thing. And they were coming in about the same time that Universal, who has way more money and way more capital, was coming in with Peacock. I mean, it might be time for them just to look at, we've been hearing analysts for months saying Paramount should just shut Paramount Plus down. And while I hate that, I do like your idea about, you know what, just become a major partner with maybe not even Netflix, maybe like become a partner of Universal. And because like Universal needs more content for Peacock. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
Another thing Paramount's doing, John, is they've licensed out a lot of their movies to other smaller companies.
Yep.
And at the same time, they'll put out banger 40th anniversary or 20th anniversary releases of Team America and a 25th anniversary of South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. And yet they release what were big, huge movies for them in the past. They're licensing them out to other companies where they're not getting, I mean, they're getting the licensing fee, I guess, but they could have they could be doing all kinds of things with their legacy library, and they're not.
Look, all I know is that I am a fan of Paramount.
Me too.
And I hope whatever happens is going to be for the best of the company. And hopefully they're going to be able to continue to make great content. And I know Ray doesn't want them to go under because he wants Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
And Beavis and Butthead. That's where I watch Beavis and Butthead.
That's where
I'm sorry.
They're on SNL.
I still watch it.
And isn't that where South Park is now?
Yep.
Isn't South Park over there? Anyway.
Yeah.
Guys, question is for you. What do you think of this? Apparently, we might be finding out any minute now that the CEO of Paramount's going to have to step down, and maybe this deal with Skydance goes through. Maybe the window closes and they start negotiating with Sony. I don't know. Whatever you guys think here, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Kung Fu Panda 4 has just kind of achieved a very impressive mark. I remember last year at CinemaCon, folks came over to talk about Kung Fu Panda, And Jack Black came out on stage and he said, "We don't have a trailer for you yet," because it was almost a year in advance. He said, "But I'm going to act out the trailer for you." And he just went crazy on stage. It was one of the most fun things at CinemaCon that year. It was great. Well, Kung Fu Panda 4, this movie that I thought was kind of too late for them to do a fourth part. I didn't think it was really much in the pop cultural consciousness anymore. I really like the Kung Fu Panda movies, but I thought it's too late. Well, it just crossed another major milestone. According to Deadline, update, Universal/DreamWorks Animation's Kung Fu Panda 4 has topped the half-century mark globally, and now with $503.5 million worldwide. Of that, $318.5 million is from international box office. Passing $500 million makes Kung Fu Panda 4, directed by Mike Mitchell and co-directed by Stephanie Mastine, only the fourth animated title to hit the $500 million benchmark since 2020, joining Illumination Studios, the Super Mario Brothers movie that made $1.4 billion, and Minions: The Rise of Gru at $943 million, and Sony/Marvel Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse at $619 million. What is really interesting too is not just as an individual accomplishment for this one movie, it puts the whole franchise in a really interesting light. Because by making $500 million, that means every single one of the 4 Kung Fu Panda movie 4 movies have now made at least $500 million. Kung Fu Panda 1 made $632 million. Kung Fu Panda 2 made $665 million. Kung Fu Panda 3, the only one that I don't really like, to be honest with you. I didn't love Kung Fu Panda 3, but still made $521 million. And now Kung Fu Panda 4, Kung Fu Panda, that's the
Panda.
That's the Asylum version of the movie, Kung Fu Panda. Kung Fu Panda 4 again crosses the $500 million mark and counting at $503 million, which again is a number that I have to admit I did not think it could get that big. So, I mean, big kudos to the folks over there for DreamWorks Animation. Another $500 million film for them on their hands in an era right now where the box office still is not, it's getting there. It continues to grow, but it hasn't gotten back to 2019 numbers pre-pandemic, and it still made $500 million. So good for them. Rob, you heard about this. Am I overplaying this, or how big or not so big of a deal is it that the fourth film of the franchise also making over $500 million?
I think it's a big deal, because look, there's only 4 Toy Story movies, and it's like these are not animated films. Take a long time to make, and it takes a long time to get them to be good.
Yeah,
and I think this is a franchise that started strong. I like this franchise. I mean, I like
Me too.
It has the whole idea behind it of a Kung Fu Panda. I mean, why didn't that exist before this franchise? I love that idea. And the cast is always great. I mean, look, you got Jack Black going out and shilling for this movie the way no one else but Jack Black could. I mean, come on, you've got a cover version of a Britney Spears song, and then that became viral. I mean, it's and plus, this is a franchise that just delivers. I mean, if you want really satisfying family entertainment that both adults and kids can like, this is a great franchise, like the Shrek franchise before it. 2 really well done franchises, both from DreamWorks. And I think that why not? Let's reward great entertainment with lots of money.
So good on them. Congratulations again to them. Having 4 films in your franchise, all of them making over $500 million, especially right now, which is great. Again, only the 4th one since 2020, 4th animated film since 2020 to actually join that $500 million mark. Good on them. I don't think we'll see Kung Fu Panda 5. I don't think we will. I think they wrap this one up, but who knows? A lot of money can equal more movies. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's talk about this, shall we? There is no movie out there that I am more excited about than Deadpool and Wolverine. I just about lost my mind when they announced it. Not only is Deadpool finally coming back, but he's number 1 in the MCU now, and finally, the groundwork they've been laying for like 5 years. Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds together again. Production, of course, wrapped on the project, which has made people like me suspect that maybe they might not even release this movie in July. Maybe Ryan Reynolds is going to hop on social media one of these days and say, by the way, guys, surprise, next week, Deadpool and Wolverine opens sometime in late May. Again, I have no proof that that's going to happen. That's just me guessing and being a fan. But right now, reports have come in that Deadpool and Wolverine are currently back on set shooting reshoots. Now, Sean Levy, the director, is saying great things like the movie's exactly as we dreamed. And there's a really interesting piece in here. Let me see if I can find it, where he was talking about, this is it. There were people who were worried again about that Disney wouldn't really let them do what they want to do with Deadpool. Sean Levy said this. I think this is a great quote. He said, there was no way I was going to reinvent a wheel, a tonal wheel that works so beautifully. Both Disney and Marvel, up and down the food chain, empowered Ryan and I to make this movie exactly how we dreamed. Now, this is something we've heard over and over again about the movie, that Disney and Marvel completely stayed out of their way and let them make the movie however they wanted to make it. But they are in reshoots right now. So one discussion I've seen floating around is some people wondering is, well, if they're in reshoots, I mean, in a couple of days, it's May. The movie's coming out in July. Are they going to make the release date? Here's the thing about that. People got to remember that years and years and years and years ago, pre-pandemic and years before that, Kevin Feige, head of Marvel, confirmed and said, when we make movies now and we're scheduling them, we plan reshoots in advance. We don't know what we're reshooting because we hadn't started shooting the movie yet, but we know we're going to pick up on things that we think we can improve on. And fortunately, Marvel's got the money that they can do that and say, we're going to plan and schedule reshoots. So it's not a big deal. It wasn't all that long ago in Hollywood history when reshoots was a massive red flag, because to go and reshoot something, that's a lot of money. But with Marvel and now DC and stuff like that, it's just a normal part of the day. So there has been other reports coming out now saying, nope, this is completely part of the plan. This reshooting area right now is just a part of the already planned schedule. It will not interfere with the July release date. Rob, we've seen Marvel go back and they've added a lot of things and here and there. I am curious what they've decided to add in here, whether it's more cameos or whether it's a new ending or whatever. Regardless, you're here, they're reshooting right now. Do you think this poses any threat to their July release date?
No, because what they'll do, like you said, this movie didn't finish production until pretty recently.
Right.
This isn't like it finished a year ago and no.
It was supposed to, but it got massively because of the
strike.
strikes and everything.
Yeah. So here's the thing, because they've always built these in. When people think that I would call these more pickups than anything else, because
that's what I was thinking.
because
too.
it's
pickups.
a reshoot assumes that something was bad and they have to go back and fix it. I think in the case of these movies, what they do is they look at them and they know, oh, you know what? Because everyone thinks that when you're on a movie set, you capture lightning in a bottle and that it's all perfect. But that isn't necessarily true. And when you finally put a movie together, which is a whole different thing, when you can finally look at it and step back and go, you know what? We can do something here. We can do something here. And you can figure something out. Like even on our little movie, Forbidden Tango, which you can see streaming, I had an idea as the editor very, very late in the game. And I said, there's something that's missing from this movie that I thought we needed. And it would require a reshoot, a pickup, a whole different scene that wasn't even in the movie. And we did it. And we put it in, and it worked beautifully. And I think with a movie like Deadpool, which is so reliant probably on jokes and things, I mean, I can only imagine Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and Sean Levy are like, you know what? This gives me an idea for another joke. And they probably were sketching things going, if we did this, and we did this, or we did this. And they had all this stuff ready to go. So for their pickups, they probably were very specific. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. And because they're probably capturing this movie digitally, as soon as they shoot, it goes right to the editorial suite, and they cut it. And the scenes are probably done the next day and cut into the movie. And then it goes right to the sound designers, right to the scorer, whoever's scoring it. And they can make changes very, very quickly.
Now, it used to be, and it is still today for 90% of movies, that, listen, when as people who have made little films and stuff like that. You've made bigger ones than me. But making films, everybody who's made a film knows this. You're done production, you've spent all the money, or at least most of the money, and now you're in the edit and stuff like that, and new ideas come to you.
Yes.
But it's too bad, because you think, oh my God, I wish we had done this with this scene. Well, that's
100, and every filmmaker at every budget level feels
has
this.
always encountered that. But it's too bad, too late, you can't do anything about it. But that's what Kevin Feige talked about before. He said, as we're sitting in the edit, new ideas will hit us. And when you're somebody like Marvel, you've got the money to say, let's bring everybody back together for a week.
Count the money.
And in a digital world, it makes it a lot easier.
Yes.
The only real question with something like this is, does it require a lot of special effects and post-production work?
Right.
Because that can extend the time. But now, cutting these shots together, you plan exactly what you need around what your resources are and your time. So, I mean, remember when was it All the Money in the World that Ridley Scott replaced Kevin Spacey?
Yep.
And they went and redid all of his scenes in like
that's
a couple of weeks.
Right.
And who did he replace him with again?
Christopher Plummer.
Plummer, who, by the way, got an Oscar nomination for filling in for Kevin Spacey, which was pretty funny. I mean, and you can just know that in this, Sean Levy, Ryan Reynolds, and the guys are sitting around the edit and coming up with new jokes. And wouldn't it be funny if we did this? And now you can do it. And it's probably, like to your point, Rob, it's probably not visual effects dependent. It's probably just dialogue dependent.
Yeah.
And being able to throw that.
And if you're on set, you're not doing green screen comps, I mean, all you have to do is shoot that stuff. I mean, people forget you can set up 2 flats and shoot a scene if you need to, and no one's the wiser.
Yeah. Now, admittedly, this is different than what would be considered red flag reshoots.
Yes.
Right? Recently, Disney scrapped their entire Deadpool or Daredevil series because they're like, you know what? This isn't the series we wanted to be.
Yeah, that's different.
That's a red flag saying it's not the show we wanted it to be. We're going to go back to the right book. Captain America 4. They are clearly doing significant reshoots because they felt they needed to make some major direction changes. But for the most part, when Marvel does reshoots or additional photography, as they call it now, it's usually just a pre-planned thing. So all the new ideas that hit them during the edit, they have a chance to go and implement them. So basically, that's all to say, no, I don't think this is going to delay their release date. It might hurt my theory that they're going to drop the movie early.
I was thinking about that too. I was like, for so long Canada Day.
Yep, there goes that hope I had. But anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Are you worried to hear that they're doing additional photography? Are you like me and you think, no, this is just par for the course? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. We still have to talk about this first trailer that just dropped for Mufasa the Lion King. And, surprise, Kraven the Hunter's been delayed again. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second here and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Miracle Made. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Miracle Made. Did you know that your temperature at night can have one of the greatest impacts on your sleep quality? If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Inspired by NASA, Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding so that you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. When they arrived at our house, my wife Ann loved the feel of them so much, she couldn't even wait for me to get home to put them on our bed. Miracle Made has self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevents up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. Miracle Sheets also have incredible comfort and quality. Miracle Sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. So go to TryMiracle, that's TryMiracle.com/Campea to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Campea at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you will get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to TryMiracle.com/Campea and use the code Campea to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's TryMiracle.com/Campea to treat yourself. And thank you to our friends at Miracle Made for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, the Lion King remake that they did in all CGI animation, and listen, can we please stop this stupid debate that, oh, no, that Lion King's live action. No, it's not. It's an animated film. It's the highest grossing animated film of all time. It's an animated film, just CGI animated. Anyway, that movie went on to make, like I said, became the highest grossing animated film of all time, making over $1 billion. Was it as good as the original animated masterpiece? No, I don't think so. But did I still really enjoy it? I really did. Not everybody did. That's fine. I don't care. I thought it was wonderful and fun. So it was with some interest that they announced a while ago that they were doing a new Lion King movie. This time it's a prequel. And you know how much I love prequels. It's called Mufasa the Lion King. Now, over at CinemaCon, they played us some footage from it. And while they didn't give much of the story away at CinemaCon, just like the animate or the CGI Lion King, it looked pretty breathtaking. I mean, it looked pretty beautiful. Well, today they have dropped the trailer, the first kind of teaser, as Jonathan was pointing out, teaser for the Lion King. And it's out now. This comes from the folks at Variety who said this. Disney has released the first trailer for Mufasa the Lion King, a prequel to the 2019 photorealistic remake of The Lion King, and revealed that Blue Ivy Carter has joined the voice cast. From Moonlight director Barry Jenkins, by the way, Academy Award-winning film, in case you forgot, Mufasa will explore the titular lion's origin story, depicting his childhood with his brother Taka, a.k.a. Scar, who becomes the main antagonist in The Lion King. So the trailer drops, and much like the stuff that they showed us over at CinemaCon, it really doesn't give us anything of the story. It's simply really more of a teaser. It's an announcement saying The Lion King is coming. And listen, I had the same feeling again that I had when I watched the first footage of the first CGI Lion King of, I can't believe this isn't real. Because I don't know if you know this about me. I watch a lot of YouTube. Everybody knows that. But I often go down a lot of nature videos on YouTube. And I happen to like watching a lot of lions. Oh, yeah. Cheetahs are my favorite.
Oh, my.
But I watch a lot of lions like taking down warthogs. Ever see one of that? Lions, they find a warthog hole and they'll spend half the day just digging out the hole. And you hear them, oh, and then they drag the... Lions are badasses. Anyway. It looks pretty damn breathtaking. It looks really impressive. I can't believe how good the damn thing looks. But anyway, it's just a bunch of visuals, right? You hear a little bit of narration of Rafiki, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
A little bit of narration, but really not much at all. It's clearly about the young Mufasa. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to check out the trailer. What did you think of the Mufasa the Lion King trailer?
Well, predictably, it looks amazing, you know. And while I'm not necessarily against this idea, I mean, delving back into the history of royalty, and there's something appealing about that, even if it is Lion King royalty. So I just want to know, I mean, first of all, that Barry Jenkins is directing this is amazing. And I think it's a good director because obviously the story, this is an allegorical story that applies to us as human beings. So the thing that I'm most interested in is what attracted them to tell this story. And I would assume, John, that whatever the story is, I would assume it's probably pretty good. That's why Barry Jenkins signed on. And I think they probably are going to have something. They don't want to sully one of their greatest franchise properties ever. And this has been very successful, being both an animated film, then the Broadway play version, which I actually saw. I thought it was astounding.
Oh, I love the Broadway show of Lion King. It was amazing.
And then now this. So I am cautiously optimistic about this movie. I just want to know more. I'm like on Starship Troopers. Do you want to know more?
Because this could have easily just been Simba's son. Yeah. Like, it just kind of looks like either a continuation or... Because, I mean, John was pointing it out, like, what else can it be? It's you know...
It's the House of the Dragon.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not the Sahara. What am I trying to say? The Serengeti or whatever. Yeah. And it's like...
They never actually tell you... You know, one of the great things about Lion King in period is the movie The Lion King could be taking place in 1257 or 2005. Because they just keep the cameras in the wilderness. You never know exactly where it is, and it never matters when it is.
Right.
So,
And,
which I was kind of
Although there
like.
are no poachers.
Also, during
no one's running
CinemaCon, Barry Jenkins, he's like one of the only directors that actually came out to actually talk about
Yes, he did.
this film. And just hearing his love for Lion King, I'm just convinced that there's no way this movie's going to be bad.
So is that a young Timon in that shot, or is that just another like meerkat?
I don't know. I do know that Seth Rogen is voicing again. So I'm not really sure. Look, I'll say this. I generally, everybody knows, I kind of roll my eyes most of the time at prequel concepts. There are prequels I enjoy. There are. I'm just saying in general, I don't like the idea of prequels. But Rob, you nailed it. You bring in Barry Jenkins?
Yeah.
I mean, that changes the whole paradigm of how you look at this. The guy who made Moonlight, that won Best Picture at the Academy Awards, he comes in and what, like Ray was pointing out, he gave this passionate story on stage about like where his love affair with Lion King started. He's very emotionally attached to this story. And when he said, I had this idea about this, it's like, okay, you know what? Some random out of college director that they hire says, I had this idea for another Lion King movie. Barry Jenkins comes on stage and talks about, I had an idea for another Lion King movie. You got my attention.
And you know what the worst part of this is? It's going to make, if it's good, it's going to make Mufasa's death much more
More tragic.
Yeah.
Well, because you're seeing him from a cub.
Yeah, you actually see where he came from.
Although this trailer did say that he didn't come from royal blood, which means he's a usurper. So really, the whole line of Mufasa, they're illegitimate.
You know how lions get their prides, right?
No, they need to be named by the church, isn't it? So
They have to be named by the church.
yeah,
So
Elected by the Cardinals.
Liontology? I'm
Liontology.
sorry.
Liontology. Now Tom Cruise is going to take that name. No, I like, for those of you who don't know, the way it works is a lion grows up and he goes and finds a pride. The problem is the pride already has a dominant male alpha.
yeah, he's got a challenge.
So the new lion has to defeat them, drive them out, and then the first thing a male lion does when he takes over a pride, kills all the cubs. That's the first thing a lion does. They kill all the cubs to make sure that the mothers can then go into heat again sooner, so he can produce offspring and whatever. It's kind of thing. So I wonder if we're going to see Mufasa coming along to some guy's
Definitely.
neighborhood and saying, I'm going to kill your kids.
Yeah.
That would be a very Barry Jenkins thing to
That's
do.
why it will change how we look at the end of Lion King. We're going to be happy he got kicked over and stomped on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
by the way,
Mufasa, blood and honey. that's what you think this movie is. You want to see him take Pumbaa out of the hole and kill him. You want a savage
Honey.
Mufasa. All right.
Wow.
So another little tidbit that the trailer did reveal, though. If you're going to have a Lion King movie, you better make sure you got banging music. They got Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh.
The guy behind Hamilton, what a job he did on Moana. So again, look, I don't know if the movie's going to be good. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I'm just thinking there's a number of things working in his favor right now. So I'm kind of excited to see this. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think? You had a chance to see the new Mufasa trailer. Clearly just a teaser. I mean, no stories really given in it. The movie's still a ways off, but I got to admit, I really liked what I saw. What did you think about it? Do you have high expectations? Do you have low expectations? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's talk about this, shall we? You know, there's a few things you've grown to just accept in life. You know, it's the girl will always pick the girl of your dreams will always pick to date a jerk instead, and Kraven will get delayed again. And surprise, Kraven has now been delayed again, and not just by a couple of days. It's been delayed by several months, as it's been pushed back to December. Now, this time there may actually appear to be a logical, rational explanation for the move.
Sure.
If you are to believe the reasons being given, and maybe it's legit. But apparently its move is being tied to Cobra Kai. Anyway, this comes to us from the, I know, yeah, it's true. This comes to us from the folks over at Deadline who wrote the following. Okay, now this is important. We're starting with Karate Kid. Sony has pushed its reboot of Karate Kid from December 13th to May 30th of 2025. Now, apparently they're saying they're moving this new, and some of you may not even remember that they're bringing us a new Karate Kid movie with Jackie Chan, I think, returning to the role.
Rejoining with Ralph Macchio.
That's right. So Sony has pushed its reboot of Karate Kid from December 13th of this year to May 30th, 2025. Now, they're saying that the reason they're doing that is because of all the strikes and everything. They want this Karate Kid movie to come out after the final season of Cobra Kai. And originally it would have, but the writer strikes have delayed things, stuff like that. So they wanted to move that so it comes out after Cobra Kai.
Now that I believe.
Now, this is how it ties into Kraven the Hunter, so they say. Backfilling Karate Kid's spot on that December 13th date is Sony Marvel's Kraven the Hunter. So they wanted to keep that, because remember, the Christmas season is a major box office season. So Sony didn't just want to leave the December 13th date empty. They had it claimed already. So they decided to backfill its spot with Sony Marvel's Kraven the Hunter, which goes from August 30th to Labor Day weekend, the Labor Day weekend frame to December 13th. So June, July, I mean, Kraven the Hunter is only about 3.5 months away. Now it's end of the year. The Aaron Taylor Johnson movie will have an IMAX and PLF screens. I got a premium large format. I think that's what PLF stands for. Kraven the Hunter will be the only R-rated movie during the holidays, directed by J.C. Chandor. It will go up that time frame against Warner Brothers' animated Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, which, I mean, if those are in theaters at the same time, I'm spending a lot of time at the movie theaters. Anyway, back to Kraven. This is a rational sounding explanation. I confess this does sound rational. I mean, you have that December 13th date. That is ultimate prime real estate for movies right now, is the Christmas season. And now you got nothing coming out. So you have the option. Do we keep Kraven on August 30th? Or do we move it into what can be a more lucrative time frame of December 13th? And they're saying the move has nothing to do with Kraven. It's about Karate Kid.
Sure.
Now, listen. I am unfortunately at the spot now in my life where if they had announced today that Kraven the Hunter had been moved to 2028, I would not have been surprised. With all the issues and problems, just with their other films. I mean, God, they're still licking their wounds of Morbius, let alone Madam Web. I think the wound is still bleeding on Madam Web, let alone letting it heal. And so I wouldn't be surprised. So, Rob, maybe I'm naive. I actually believe the story because it does kind of make sense. I actually believe that the only reason they're moving right now is to take advantage of the December 13th release date. Because I got to say, if I was a Sony executive and that option was available to me, I probably would have taken that option too. Say, do I want to release Kraven August 30th or prime Christmas season release date? So, maybe I'm naive, but I buy it. What about you?
You know, are we playing buy and sell? I would buy that too, John. I will agree with my esteemed colleague, John, that you are. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right about this. And I think another thing, the added benefit of this move, and I don't think this is lost on them, is not only was this an opportunity to take, but Madam Web, because of its title, will be forever associated with as a failed Spider-Man universe film. Whereas Kraven the Hunter, for those not in the know, can go to this movie and think they're seeing a brand new character, somebody that, I mean, it's not that it's a bait and switch, but it can exist on its own. Kraven will live or die based on the performance of Aaron Taylor Johnson and the execution of the movie. J.C. Chandor is a great director. I have a lot of hope for this movie. And, why don't I start a rumor? It gives them 4 months to put Spider-Man in it.
But
I'm kidding. I kid. But I think it's a good move all the way around.
Do you like the new title, though? We didn't discuss the new title.
What?
Kraven, the New Blade.
the new Blade. That sadly makes sense. Listen, and I know I'm going to piggyback on something you just said, Rob, because
The Spider-Man thing?
no, not that. But I agree with the other thing you said. And I know this is not the popular opinion, but it's often lonely being right. I actually have some hope in this movie.
I do too.
First of all, Aaron Taylor Johnson is notorious pretty picky about what he does select to be in or not. Like the last couple of things that I've seen him in, Bullet Train, I had a ball with that.
He was great.
And he was really good in Fall Guy. I really, really like him in Fall Guy. He chooses to be in really good projects.
Yeah.
And while Morbius was a disaster and Madam Web was a failed open heart operation that went very badly, the fact of the matter is this is still Sony that gave us Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse and Venom, which I love, made over $800 million. And I love that movie. And I believe this one can be good. I'm not saying it will be good. I'm saying it can be good.
Well, you stuck through all those Transformers.
I mean, God, yeah.
I mean, if not, that means they bookend the whole year with Madam Web, and then at the end will be Kraven.
That's right.
So we got stench on both ends of the year. So,
Dude, imagine the box set you could get.
Oh my God.
Come on, man.
No, I mean, listen, I'll be serious. When they showed us the first trailer for it at last year's CinemaCon, I liked it. I didn't think it was the greatest trailer.
No,
but
I liked it too.
I liked it.
yeah.
I
think
agree.
It's like Venom. Just like
It had more of a
impact
Venom feel. And I think you're absolutely right, Rob, when you say this movie, I really do believe is going to completely live or die based on the performance of Aaron Taylor Johnson. Because if Aaron Taylor Johnson can give us an awesome Kraven,
Yeah.
I think that'll go a long, even if there are some story deficiencies, I think that'll go a long way with a lot of people. And there's somebody mowing their lawn right outside my window.
I was like, okay, we got to bookmark this date.
Yeah. I don't even think people are going to be able to hear it. We have such a great noise canceller.
okay.
But at any rate, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Apparently, Kraven has been moved again, but there appears to be a not so disastrous reason. They found a better release date for it in December because Karate Kid has moved. Do you guys buy that? I got to admit, I kind of do. Maybe you got some good reasons why we shouldn't believe it. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're now going to move on to the most important part of the show, which is hearing from you guys and taking your comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take another quick moment here and thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Harry's. Guys, we want to take a second. Clear.
Okay.
Nice.
Guys,
So we got to remember.
Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Harry's. You know, guys, in order to start the John Campea Show, I had to leave my high-paying corporate job in order to set myself up to be happier and enjoy more personal success. Because sometimes to get what you want, you have to challenge the status quo and blaze your own trail. And that's exactly what the folks at Harry's did. You see, at Harry's, they saw customers getting ripped off by questionable products in the shaving industry and decided to do something better. Harry's decided to pave their own road by making beautifully designed razors for a fraction of the price of the other big brands. Exceptional products, honest prices. That's Harry's. I have fallen in love with Harry's, from their foaming shaving gel that feels just luxurious on the skin to their incredible razor that feels just as good in the hand as it does going over your skin. They've got rich, lathering, skin-softening body wash in scents like redwood, wildlands, and stone. You see, Harry's provides German-engineered blades made in their own factory that stay sharp longer. You can get a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and a travel cover for just $3 at harrys.com/campea. Don't settle for the status quo. Blaze your own trail with Harry's. Get started with a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/campea. That's harrys.com/campea for a $3 trial set. Clear. And we're back. And thank you to our friends at Harry's for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. I hit the wrong button when I said clear. We weren't clear, as it turns out.
Clear your face with Harry's.
Clear your facial hair with Harry's. All right, guys. With that all down, let's get over to the most important part of the show, which is hearing from you. So, Jonathan, what do we got up here first?
All right. First, we have Noam, who says, saw Fall Guy 2. saw Fall Guy 2 times in IMAX already.
Nice.
What a blast of a movie. I loved what they did with the credits. I wish more films would do that stuff like that.
I don't think it's a spoiler to give away, by the way, because Fall Guys, while it's opening here soon, it's open in some international markets already. It's not a spoiler to say that the posts, like the credits, while the credits are going, they showed the behind the scenes of them putting all the stunts together.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. Listen, Ray and I did, we went to go see Fall Guy at CinemaCon. We saw the whole movie. And on the negative side, I still believe the movie was too long.
Oh, I don't think so.
Really? You don't agree?
I loved it, man.
I mean, but okay, aside from the fact that I thought it was too long, I had a great time with it. I think it's a really fun little movie. Ryan Gosling is a treasure. Good Canadian kid. Emily Blunt is every guy's dream girl. And she's like the ultimate dream girl that the hero is after and all that kind of stuff. It's a wonderful little movie. And yeah, it is a true love letter to stunts and the people who do them in movies. And the post-credit scene, as it runs through the credits, is like perfect. It's really perfect. So I'm glad you had a chance to see it, and I'm glad you enjoyed it, man.
I do want to point out, John, that on our channel, the John Campea channel,
oh, yes, right now.
we
on
have
Designing
the
Hollywood.
costume designer Sarah Evelyn, who did the Fall Guys costume and has worked with that team. She also was the costume designer on Bullet Train.
Also working with David Leitch on that.
Yeah.
Terrific job, by
Great
the way.
conversation. She was delightful.
All right, what's next?
J Loco's next. Just saw Immaculate and First Omen. I'm loving this nunsploitation era. Although my
Exploitation.
yeah, it gets worse. Although my wife hasn't slept right since. But how many F's did I give? None.
None. N-U-N. None. I have not seen either Immaculate or The Omen. But Rob, I know you saw The Omen, and
I saw it for some-
you were quite happy with it.
I
weren't
liked
you?
it. I thought it was pretty good. You know, I thought the direction, this new director, I forget her name, but she's very hot. I thought she did a terrific job directing the film, and I thought it had some really great stuff in it. Did we need to get another Omen movie? I don't know, but I really did enjoy it. And look, the nunsploitation genre goes back a long way. I mean, Warner Brothers, when are we going to get Ken Russell's The Devils uncut on 4K? Just saying.
And don't forget, just The Nun.
Yeah, and The Nun too. I mean, there's a lot of great, but I thought I really want to see Immaculate. People have liked it. People have said to me that they liked Immaculate better than the first Omen. So, you know, Nun's in trouble. That's what I love.
All right, what's next? Nun's in trouble. That's what I love.
Okay, CPU is next with a 50-pound.
Thank you, CPU, for supporting us to that level, man.
amazing.
That's incredibly generous of you.
Yeah. It says, thank you, Jonathan, for Madam Web last week. I laughed. I was sick, so I'm going to do a bad movie day with friends. What movies should we watch? So he was the one, I believe, last week who was sick, and he's like, I've missed a lot. What should I catch up on? And I said, Madam Web.
What's some other... I just recently saw a movie I really hated. Which one was it?
Rebel Moon.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you can catch up on Rebel Moon. If
you really
harder.
want. If you hate yourself that much, go ahead and hunker down for the evening and watch some Rebel Moon. Yeah, that was not so good.
Is he going to the theaters or just like
No, I think at
watching
home.
at home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're looking for something bad. Oh, yeah. Chubbs GPT, also in the live chat, brings up a good one. Ricky Stenicki.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I
man,
was so disappointed in
I
that.
was so disappointed. I was so excited for that movie. I thought the trailer was hilarious. I love John Cena. I love what's his face, Iron Claw Boy,
Zac
Zac
Efron.
Efron. I love Zac. I've loved Zac Efron for a long time, and it was like, this looks hilarious. The great William H. Macy is in it. Oh God, that movie was bad.
Guess what I saw on the weekend? Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, you did get a sound.
What a trip!
Wasn't that great?
Oh my God!
Executive produced by Roy Lee. Who, by the way, did you see?
sleep?
Roy Lee has another movie in theaters. Lionsgate put it out, and for all, it's called what is it? Boy Kills World.
Oh yeah,
Right.
right.
Yes, with Skarsgård.
Yeah, and it made no money, and I really, people have told me they really liked it. I didn't get out to see it, but it didn't do any business.
Here's the thing.
I feel
Until
sad.
this morning, I didn't even know it came out this weekend.
Yeah,
I know that was the problem.
And they didn't even talk about it at CinemaCon.
No, I know.
They had a couple of posters up for it around CinemaCon, but they didn't even talk about the movie. I mean, like, they literally buried their own film. And it looks like what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Mike's movie, Shoot 'Em Up.
Right.
At least the marketing for it, it kind of reminds me of Shoot 'Em Up. And that's a fun little film.
By the way, he's launching a Kickstarter
Yeah.
for his new movie, Blast 'Em Up. And he's hand animating it. He hand animated a whole feature film called Nixed.
Yeah, he did.
And it was really good. So look out for Blast 'Em
So I
Up.
want to see Boy Kills World, but they have buried this thing so badly.
I know.
I didn't
And
even know it came out
The
this weekend.
trailer was great.
Yeah, I had fun with it. So I don't know. We'll see. All right, what's next?
All right, Amin says Mufasa trailer was okay. Only thing I was excited for was seeing Lin-Manuel's name. Was already public knowledge that he was doing, or was it already public knowledge that he was doing the music?
I honestly don't know if it was. I don't even think they mentioned it at CinemaCon.
No, they didn't, because we would have.
Yeah, we would have talked
We would've
about that,
said
I
it.
would think. But again, first of all, I love Hamilton. I've gone to see Hamilton, I think, 4 times. And the job he did with the music on Moana was incredible. So he's the best guy in the business right now to do something like this. So hopefully, I feel pretty confident at least the music will be good.
Yeah, they had Beyonce on the voice cast of Mufasa.
Did they?
Yeah, she's in the voice cast. I put her as a keyword. That's why I put her in there.
Because wasn't she the voice of Nala in the CGI one?
I believe she's in here. I'll double check.
Anyway, all right. What's next?
Gabe, Big Dog says, "Good morning, John."
By the way,
and-
Gabe sent in a $20 tip. Thank you, Gabe.
all right, yeah. Good morning, John, and the Campeas. Yesterday was my birthday. Had
Yep.
fun.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, brother.
I now own your book.
Oh, wow.
Also, Ray is awesome. I would like to thank him for donating to the Wounded Warrior Foundation. It means a lot.
Yeah.
So thank you, Ray.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, so Beyonce is Nala. Okay, sorry. Happy birthday, Gabe. I'm sorry.
But Nala's not going to be in this movie. See, this is why you can't trust
Oh.
IMDb before a movie comes out.
Okay.
IMDb is rock solid once a movie comes out.
Right.
But before a movie comes out, because I do not believe Nala is going to be in. That's what I said. Wasn't Beyonce the voice of Nala? Yeah. So I don't think she's going to be in this.
Okay.
But she might. I mean, she might. I think they also, yes, they're listing Donald Glover too. So that might just be taking cast from the old one and just assuming it's going to be there. I mean, I don't know. First of all, thank you for owning my book. I appreciate that very, very much. And thank you for being here and supporting the show. And again, thank you for supporting us on that level. That's really kind of you, man. We appreciate that.
Let me update you because people just wrote something. Beyonce and her daughter, Blue Ivy Carter, play mother and daughter in Disney's Mufasa.
So is this,
Maybe-
is this going to be like a
Flashback.
Flashback,
telling the story?
probably.
Like the Indiana Jones Chronicle thing?
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
They're going to have like Mufasa, King Simba, and Nala telling their little one about, let me tell you the story of your grandfather or something like that.
That could be.
All right, I could be down with that. Maybe.
Or maybe it's like Godfather 2 and there's dual storylines happening.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, man, now I really want to see this.
Okay,
movie. I
that's
said
something
that.
Barry Jenkins would do.
Yeah.
We're gonna do
like
the
Moonlight,
Godfather.
you know, the
with
different
Lion
different
King.
stories and the different
Yeah.
time periods.
That could be interesting.
It's gonna Godfather 2 that shit. Come on, man.
All right,
It's gonna
what's
be great.
next?
CPU's back with another 20-pound.
Thank you, CPU.
Just thank you all for the work you do.
Aw, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. You know, it's as dumb as it looks. We're just freaking a couple of guys sitting around and streaming on YouTube. A lot of work goes into putting on one of these shows, actually, and
A lot of mess ups too.
and a lot of mess ups. Clear, a lot of mistakes happen, but a lot of work does go into making these things. And thank you. It means a lot to us when somebody just wants to write in and just be supportive like that. So thank you for that very much. We appreciate it a ton. All right, what's next?
I kind of wish sometimes people could see us Enterprise Engine Room this thing seconds before we go
We're
live and
running
get it fixed.
around patching cables and trying to do all the time. Why isn't this working?
Yeah.
It's a lot. All right, what's we got
All right,
next?
Mr. Godzilla with a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Mr. Godzilla.
Godzilla and Kong just crossed 500 million at the
Yep.
box office. Well deserved, and long live the king. And also Kong, LOL. Sorry, Rob's taking a selfie.
Putting it up.
Yeah, and also Kong, LOL. Dune 2 also crossed 700 million and closing in on Interstellar, Timothy's highest film. Will it cross at 733?
No, I don't see any way it can cross 733 million. I mean, it's pretty much done its theatrical run now.
Yeah.
It's now available for rent or purchase on streaming. Listen, I said that I saw this thing making, when some people were saying $1 billion, I said, look, it's just not a popcorn broad audience kind of film. It can't do $1 billion. But I said 600 to 700 million.
You did.
I think in making 700 million for the kind of movie it is outstanding.
Well, also, John, with Legendary financing 80% of the movie,
Yep.
that's it. Let's call it $200 million movie. That's still, you're looking at $160 million, and they probably have first money out, and then Warner Brothers and Legendary have some kind of a split deal. They did very well.
Yeah, they did.
So this movie would be very profitable for Legendary.
And again, it's kind of the last 12 months is kind of Timothée Chalamet's domain. I mean, between the success of Wonka, which cleared over $600 million, now Dune 2 clearing $700 million, and by the way, Godzilla vs. Kong clearing the $500 million mark.
And those are two Legendary movies, and you look at Wonka, and that's not bad for 3 films.
No, not bad at all.
Chalamet is $1 billion star.
And we got more to come too with his deal that he signed.
Yeah, so a lot more.
Yeah, and
All
I'd
right.
like to personally thank the creators of Dune and AMC Theaters for that popcorn
For the
bucket.
popcorn bucket. By the way, I'm still waiting to see. One of the things, I don't know if you heard about this, Rob. At CinemaCon, Kevin Feige said there is going to be a special collectible Deadpool popcorn bucket. And he said, if you thought the Dune one was inappropriate, he said, wait till you see what Deadpool designs. And so I have no idea what this
Is it going to be
Deadpool
like
bucket
Deadpool's crotch or something like
that's
that?
what I-
Celebrate
I-
International Women's Day
or
with
like
Deadpool
a
and Wolverine.
Deadpool butthole that you got to reach
Yeah.
you got to fist Deadpool to get your popcorn out.
Oh my!
I don't know. But he
that's
just
too
said,
far.
wait till you see this.
He's not too far.
That's
Wait
too
till you
far.
see this. He said, so I don't know. We'll see what they do. All right. What's next?
All right, Kevin's with a $50 super chat.
Thank you, Kevin.
Wow.
Wow. Everybody's supporting us so much today. Thank you, Kevin's.
John, my top pick for Joker in the James Gunn universe is Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe, baby. Curious as to why he was not on your list. Much love, bring on the filthy.
Okay, I was expecting somebody to ask me this question. So the other day we did a with James Gunn's new DCU coming out, like at some point there's going to be a Joker. Maybe sooner rather than later, maybe later rather than sooner. And so we went over 10 picks of who I think could play a really neat Joker. And I did a very wide, diverse group, from younger to a bit older, all that kind of stuff. But I did not put Willem Dafoe on my list. Even though for 15 years or more, Willem Dafoe has been at or near the top of a lot of people's lists for that. There are 3 reasons why I didn't put Willem Dafoe up there. Number 1, while he's got a lot of years making a lot of great cinema still ahead of him, I think he might be a little too old to play Joker. Now, someone might point out, say, John, time out, dude. You put Christoph Waltz on your list, and he's not much younger than Willem Dafoe. True, but I'm going to say but even with Christoph Waltz, I said, this is kind of pushing how old I think I can go. So there's that. Secondly, I didn't put him on because it's a lazy pick, because everybody for 15 years has been saying Willem Dafoe, right? But the third and main reason I didn't put Willem Dafoe on the list is because where he had him playing Joker, it was called Goblin, that we saw him play in thing. And I really just kind of think it would just be the same character they would do. Now, that's not to say, guys, that if they announced tomorrow, if James Gunn got on social media and said, I'm thrilled to announce that I've cast Willem Dafoe to play the Joker in the future, I'm not saying I won't be excited about it. Of course I will be.
Sure.
But that's why he didn't quite make my top 10 list. I don't know, Rob, would you have put Dafoe on your top 10?
I would have 20 years ago. But like you said, the Joker has to be a relative contemporary of Batman's, because they're, that relationship they have, the mirror reflection of one another. And
Right.
I think having a young Batman, which they're going to do, and an old Joker, I mean, that was the whole fun of Dark Knight Returns, was the Joker and Batman had aged together, and it made Joker even scarier. But, I think he would have been a great choice. He looks like the Joker. He's just, I love Willem Dafoe all the way back to The Loveless, the first time I ever saw him, the Catherine Bigelow's first movie that she co-directed, and To Live and Die in L.A., so he can do no wrong in my book. And Raven Shattuck in Streets of Fire.
By the way, somebody just brought up a pretty neat name that I did not consider. Ben Schwartz for Joker. That would be, depending on what kind of Joker
Yeah.
that James Gunn wanted. By the way, that reminds me, I watched the first 4 episodes of Knuckles.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ben Schwartz. Not loving it.
Yeah.
And I love the Sonic movies.
Yeah.
Have you watched some of the Knuckles series?
I've only gone through the first episode. That's it.
It
Not
turns around at
loving it.
episode 6.
Does it?
I don't know. I was kidding. It's
turns
it's the final episode.
Yeah, not hating it. Not hating it. There are definitely some moments that made me laugh. But overall, it's not great.
Which is weird because it's 30-minute episodes, right? So and you think
Some of them are like 25 minutes.
and it's 6 episodes.
yeah.
That's not a good sign to hear that you didn't finish it. Like when you finish other things that are longer, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
just not making you want to keep watching.
And I will get around to it.
You're right,
I
right.
will, but here's my problem with it. Well, there's certainly a silliness level to Sonic and Sonic 2, right? It's this silly blue alien hedgehog thrust into a sitcom
Right.
reality kind of world.
Right.
Knuckles is a red alien entity dropped into a children's program. Like Sonic dropped into like a sitcom kind of world.
Right.
Knuckles dropped into a Teletubbies kind of, like, it's so silly.
Yeah.
And so like Sonic found that great balance of being just joyfully silly and whatever. Knuckles is just it was written for 7-year-olds, I feel like.
Yeah.
But-
I could tell from the first episode that's
Yeah.
the way it's going, especially with the mailman coming out of that.
I'm not gonna lie, that made me laugh.
That made me laugh,
That
but
made
I was
me
like,
laugh.
what is this, Mr. Rogers' comedy hour?
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, somebody in the live chat, Dom, is saying, well, Knuckles is aimed at kids. So is Sonic. You can do stuff that is like really inviting and open to kids, but that isn't taking it overboard to being exclusively for children.
So you
right?
think the tone is just different from the movies?
Yeah, it's different.
And
It didn't quite work.
Yeah, yeah,
It didn't
right.
quite work. But again, it has its moments. And maybe I'll like the final couple of episodes.
Okay.
All right, what's next?
Moving to member questions. Let me know. It's Rob Buck. Let me know if we're lined up here because I can't see.
Yeah, you look pretty lined up.
I've been wondering ever since I saw the Deadpool Wolverine trailer.
Wait a second. No, I don't see that. The first thing I see at the top of the screen is, have you ever seen the movie Walk Hard?
So how's this?
A little bit lower,
Dewey Finn story?
a little bit lower. There you go. Okay.
All right. I've been wondering ever since I saw the Deadpool Wolverine trailer, is Deadpool's mission from the TVA to track down Wolverine and he gets the wrong one? This appears to be a Wolverine who let down his entire universe. Just a thought. Also cannot wait to see the final 3 episodes of X-Men 97.
My guess, and it's only a guess, is that when Wade finds out from the TVA what is truly at stake, he feels he needs help. Like, there's a great moment in the trailer when he's showing Wolverine his photo. He's like, I'm going to lose everything. And he says to him, you've saved the world. I don't know how to do that. You do. So, and then it sounds like the TVA is like, hey, we don't quite approve of your choice of partner. So that's what, I don't think they sent him out to find Wolverine. I think that's a decision he makes on his own. Again, that's just a guess.
I think he does. I think we're going to see in the early, like the first third of the movie, him looking for different Wolverines, because we do see in that original teaser trailer Patch, who's the Wolverine in the...
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be looking for different Wolverines, and then he's going to find this one, and this one just has to be the one that works. You know?
Yeah. I agree with that. As far as X-Men 97 goes, I loved the first 2 episodes. And then I kind of cooled on the series a little bit with episodes 3 and 4, which were okay. But I didn't particularly think they were great or anything like that. So I kind of cooled on the series. But episodes 5 and 6 have kind of gotten back to that episode 1 and 2 level. I really enjoyed episode 5 and 6. So I'm looking forward to finishing out the series. It's a winner for me right now. All right, what's next?
All right, Brandon Entwistle says, have you ever seen the movie Walk Hard, a Dewey Cox story?
Dewey
Oh, yeah.
Cox, not Dewey Finn.
It's such a funny music biopic parody movie. Highly recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it. John C. Reilly.
Yeah, we've talked about it on the show a number of times. Like, Walk Hard is, it's really funny.
It's good.
I don't know that I put it up as one of John C. Reilly's 2 or 3 best ever. John C. Reilly, look, at the end of the day, John C. Reilly is kind of like the way Paul Rudd was about 5 or 6 years ago, where Paul Rudd was a name most people knew and like, oh, when he popped up, everybody liked him. But when you actually sat down and read his resume, you're like, oh my God, I didn't know he's done that much amazing stuff.
Yeah.
I think John C. Reilly's saying, because fairly or unfairly, for a long time, I think John C. Reilly was in Will Ferrell's shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And look, everybody's going to be in Will Ferrell's shadow, but he is a comedic genius. And Walk Hard is one of the best examples of that. I love him in that.
It pairs well with Talladega Nights, those two films.
It does. It really does. All right, what's next?
Okay. Saladul Hassan says, with Jeff Bridges coming back for Tron Ares, do you think Garrett Hedlund will make a cameo?
Here's the thing. When you think Tron, when people hear Tron, they think Jeff Bridges.
That's just your Tron, man.
When people hear Tron, they don't think Hedlund.
No.
They just don't. He's not iconic to the franchise the way Jeff Bridges is. Now, does that mean that he can't appear in it? Not necessarily. Does that mean director of Booksmart?
Olivia Wilde.
Olivia Wilde. Does that mean Olivia Wilde can't appear again?
I hope she does.
Not at all. By the way, no, I never knew she was in House. It's just House clips started popping up in my
She was a
YouTube
main
feed,
character.
and she's in there. I'm like, I had no idea she was in House. Anyway, I mean, they could, but I wouldn't count on it. Rob, you're more of a Tron guy than me. What do you think about the idea of either of those two?
Well, I mean, maybe Garrett Hedlund will appear. I mean, I could see that, especially if it's taking place predominantly in
Because he's Jeff Bridges' son in the series. Yeah, yeah.
And it's wild to me. Jeff Bridges played Flynn in the first Tron movie in 1982. I'm wondering if they're going to bring back Bruce Boxleitner, who is Tron.
Yeah,
you know, and it would be wild because he was in Tron Legacy.
Well, he also did the voice in what was the animated series that followed
Uprising.
Tron
Uprising,
which was actually pretty good.
It was pretty good.
I liked Uprising.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I to toot my own horn, it was 20 years ago, but 22 years ago, I did make a feature-length documentary on the making of Tron that's on the Tron Blu-ray. Why is it not on Disney Plus? I don't know, but
It will eventually.
it's there.
All right, what's next?
Okay. Fanjecture says, will Despicable Me 4 be the 5th animated movie since 2020 to cross 500, and what's its ceiling?
100% it will. Can you look, what did Despicable Me 4 make? Because I can't remember if it hit the $1 billion mark. It may have. I can't remember, but it made a lot of money. The Despicable Me movies make a lot of money, and why not? I love the Despicable Me movies. 3 was not so good. The one with Gru's brother.
Wait,
How much did 4 make?
4? It's not even listed in.
Wait, is this one coming out Despicable Me 4? Or is this one Despicable
Yeah, that
Me
one.
5?
This one must be 4. So 3 is.
I might be thinking of the Minions
3
movie.
made 1 billion.
3 made $1 billion. Are you sure there's no Despicable Me 4? Oh, no, this is
this is the
Despicable Me 4,
fourth.
right.
Yeah.
I can't see a reality that it doesn't get the $500 million mark. I think the question will be whether it gets $1 billion. By the way, they showed us like 10, 15 minutes of the new Despicable Me at CinemaCon, and it was Despicable Me firing on all cylinders.
Look, the first one made 540.
It's a great track record.
Yeah, and then the next one made 970 million, and then the last
Third one.
Yeah, the third one, 1 billion. So
Yeah, and then the Minions films have done extremely well. I think that's probably why I'm thinking, isn't this Despicable Me 5 is because The Rise of Gru.
Right.
But that was a Minions movie. I mean, this whole Gru Despicable Me Minions verse has been nothing but a giant cash cow for them.
Huge.
And again,
huge.
other than Despicable Me 3, I've really enjoyed all of them. I think they've been great. So it is automatic that will make at least 500 million. That it's just automatic.
Rise of Gru made 940 million.
Yeah. That Anne loves that movie.
Oh,
She-
is it?
Oh,
Is it
she
good?
laughed her ass
Oh
off.
my
in
god, I
Rise of
gotta
Gru.
see it.
All right, let's take a couple more. What's next?
Okay, we've got CCTV says, I love seeing Marvel starting to return to form. I feel it in my loins. Feel it in my loins.
Yeah.
Have a filthy day, gentlemen.
Well, let's be clear.
I will now.
Marvel hasn't done anything yet.
Right.
I mean, look, we are anticipating that Deadpool will be a massive step in the right direction for them and will be a big hit for them. And hopefully the first step of a long journey to getting back to that dominance that they had. We recently did a video on the 10 things they need to do to get back to that place of dominance. Hopefully it'll be a good start. But let's be clear, they haven't done anything to get back there yet.
I wish he mentioned what made him think that, like, ooh, Marvel's back on track. Maybe we're assuming it wasn't.
Well, it looks like it's going to get there,
Yeah.
but it's not there yet. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. All right, what's next?
Todd Naparick says, as a fellow owner of a micro camper, can you give me any recommendations of places, not national parks in California, I should check out with my little teardrop camper?
Oh, I love those.
When I head out that way. I've only been to California once, and that was driving through it at night during the 2018 fires.
And there's a couple of really good places. Paris Lake is really, really good. But the one Ann and I go to the most that we really love is in Temecula, California, which is like halfway between where we are in Riverside and San Diego. And it's called Temecula, California. It's a really nice town. And there's a place there called Vail Lake. It's a KOA, I think, but we love it. So that's a really good place to go and check out. All right, what's next?
also Crystal Lake is good too. I heard. You know? Crystal Lake, Rob.
You might want to avoid
I
Crystal
go there
Lake.
all the time.
All right, what's next?
All right. Galavantris says, how can Disney get the fans back on board with Star Wars? What steps should they take in doing so?
It's the simplest thing in the world. Make quality product. That's it. Remember, in the 7-8 years of Star Wars fandom becoming a depressing, awful, terrible, toxic place, the one moment of reprieve that we all felt when it was like, oh, everybody's holding hands and singing Kumbaya again, was the first season of The Mandalorian. When The Mandalorian came out, it was like a soothing balm because it's like, oh, well, we like it. And then Star Wars fans look over the fence at the other Star Wars fans and say, do you like it? It's like, yeah, we liked it too. Everybody liked it. And on that one thing, everybody could agree, we like Mandalorian. This is really good. That's it. You make good product. It will, I mean, there's nothing else you can do. Well, bring Mark Hamill back. That's not going to fix shit. Well, make a story about Old Republic. That's not going to fix shit. Nothing will fix shit until you just put out good product.
100%.
Everybody's looking for a formula. There's no formula. Just make it good. Make Andor. Yeah. not everybody wants a grown-up Star Wars, but the vast majority of people really liked Andor. Make Mandalorian, the more traditional kind of Star Wars thing. Everybody liked it. Everybody's on the same page. You get back to doing that, it's as easy and as impossibly hard as that. And if they're able to do that, they'll get everybody back. You don't, you're not going to get everybody back, no matter what you do. You can change the CEO, you can change the directors, you put up bad products still, it's going to leave everybody divided still. Just make good product and everybody will get back on board. Same thing with Marvel, same thing with Harry Potter, same thing with everything. Winning cures everything. That's it. So if they can make great product, they'll be
100%, dude.
Because here's the thing. As divided as the fan base is, okay? Everywhere, except for the few basement dwelling losers who want a culture war. Other than that, the vast majority of Star Wars fans who have differing opinions from each other and the divided Star Wars, everybody wants a unified Star Wars fandom, right? People on this side of the fence want a unified Star Wars fandom. People on this side of the fence want, most people, again, except for those few small percentage basement dwellers, everybody wants a unified Star Wars fandom. Everybody wants, this is the one thing Star Wars has going for it. Everybody wants to love Star Wars.
I think that's the
Right?
most important thing. We all do.
Yeah.
We all want to love Star Wars again.
And that is working in their favor that you don't have a fandom that is just like, for the most part, some people may say this like, F Star Wars, I'm done. But the reality is deep down, we all want to love Star Wars. A lot of us have different ideas about how we get there. What do they say in Fallout? Everybody wants to save the world, but everybody's got different ideas how to do it.
Yep.
So everybody may have different ideas about what Star Wars needs to do to be good again and all that kind of stuff. But everybody wants to love Star Wars. And as long as that's true, then the path of just putting out 2 or 3 really good pieces of product in a row, I think people will be amazed how unifying that can become. So whether they can do or not, we'll have to see. All right, what's next?
Dominic Suma says, I would like to see an MCU movie teaming up Russell Crowe as Zeus and Ryan Gosling as Nova. Where they investigate the crime in 1970s Los Angeles, and it's directed by Shane Black, and they call it The Nice Guys 2. But Russell Crowe has to do it with the accent now, so.
Listen,
I'd watch that.
you are not invited to the orgy. In as much as I agree with almost everybody that Thor Love and Thunder was a significant step down from Thor Ragnarok, the one thing I will still hold to was that one of the redeeming qualities of Thor Love and Thunder, and there weren't a lot, but one of the few redeeming qualities of Thor Love and Thunder was Russell Crowe's Zeus. I will stand by that. I will die on that hill. I loved every moment and every line of dialogue that Russell Crowe had as Zeus. Even the end, when he's talking to Roy Kent, his son Hercules, at the end of it, and wanting vengeance on Thor. I share everybody's opinion. Thor Love and Thunder was a big step down from Thor Ragnarok. I agree, but I thought Russell Crowe was great. I could watch a 2-hour version of just that meeting of the gods in the city of the gods. Oh, I thought he was wonderful in it. Anyway, that's just me. All right, last question of the day. What's next?
All right, Zelda Master says, Wolves fan here, coming in to say we're pulling for the Lakers tonight. You got the monkey off your back. You can win. Once a Minnesota team, always a, well, is that Minnesota
Always a
team?
Minnesota team.
Yeah, well, yeah, Minnesota. Okay, always a Minnesota
Okay,
team.
sorry to everybody, but just sports talk for a second here. Here's the thing about this Lakers and Denver series. Denver was up 3-0. But here's the craziest thing. Denver was leading the series 3-0. They had beat the Lakers 11 games in a row. But the most remarkable stat they put up on the show. First of all, the Lakers had led at halftime in every single one of the games. Mm-hmm. At one point, they even had a 20-point lead in the second half, and they blew game 2. But then they put up this stat during game 4. In the series, and I might be off by a couple of minutes, but in the entire series, Denver had led 48 minutes. Los Angeles had led 125 minutes. They were leading at halftime of everything. They can beat the Nuggets, even though the Nuggets are the best team in the league. But when LeBron is on his game and AD is on his game, and when D'Angelo Russell doesn't go 0 for 7, they can beat them. And then game 4, they did. There's no way LA wins this series, but I believe they can win one more game. Mm-hmm. They have at most of the series, they've outplayed Denver, but they've always choked when it comes down to money making time. And they always choke down the stretch. And Denver shows everybody again why they're the best team in the league. Nikola Jokic shows again why he is by far the best player in the NBA right now. Did you see that tap pass he made the other day?
Yeah.
That's the thing. The craziest thing about Nikola Jokic, the Joker, man. This guy, he's physically dominating. He's a huge monster, but he can hit threes, and he's a top 3 best passer in the NBA. There is nothing he can't do. It is insane. It's like watching Shaq, but with way more skills. Like it's just, and he hits his 3 throws.
I'll still take Shaq.
I know you'll still take Shaq.
I'm going to die on that hill.
Okay, sir, let's
Shaq.
actually finish today with more of an industry question rather than a sports one. Let's take one more.
Logan Vaughn says, other than Deadpool and Wolverine, what do you think will become a cultural touchstone of 2024 summer movie season? There's no way to tell.
I can't listen. I'm terrible with movie dates, so I can't even tell you what's coming out this summer. But I'll tell you what, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes looks freaking good. The stuff they showed us at CinemaCon was so good. I cannot wait for that.
We got Bad Boys coming up.
I'd like to see Alien Romulus turn out to be great.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, Rob,
Like,
like,
it just takes off.
there was a
can't
lot
wait.
of stuff at CinemaCon that I thought, oh, Rob would really like this. The Alien Romulus stuff is the one time I thought, I really wish Rob was here to see this.
I'm just really excited for it.
Twisters as well for
Oh,
me.
Twisters is going to be
When's-
the cultural
when's
icon
Twisters?
For sure.
Twisters is July 19th.
And it's Glenn Powell. But you know what? After what happened this weekend,
Oh yeah, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know if anyone's going to want to see that. movie.
I'm sorry. About
By
I-
the summertime, they will.
Yeah,
You know,
by
pe-
summer they will. I mean,
I mean,
yeah,
what
but that
happened
is
this weekend? The videos are the most terrifying things I've ever
horrific.
seen.
Yeah.
Absolutely
yeah,
horrific.
forgive
Yeah.
me for that.
I mean, anybody out there, I'm really
Yeah,
sorry. I know.
we got Borderlands too as well in the summer. But that's it.
I don't know about that.
Listen, I'm a big Eli Roth fan. I love Eli Roth. I'm not feeling Borderlands. Even the presentation they gave us at CinemaCon was better than what I'd seen before. And I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see it. And I hope I love it, but I'm going to admit right now, I don't have a lot of belief that it's going to be great. But I hope it is. I mean, listen, they've got, one of the arguably 3 best actresses in the world decided she was going to star in it. You get Cate Blanchett. It says, I'll be in that movie. She is one of the 3. Some might even say she might be a top 5 greatest actress of all time. And I wouldn't argue against you if you made that argument. And she chose to be in it. So, okay. And then you got like Kevin Hart in there. By the way, you know what I'm doing next week? I got tickets. Me and Soul Video got tickets. Netflix is doing a roast of Tom Brady.
Oh wow!
And it's being hosted
by Kevin
by
Hart?
Kevin Hart.
Nice.
They haven't announced who all the other roasters are going to be. And it's going to be at the old Forum, the LA Forum. So me and Soul
Great.
bought our tickets. We're going to be right up there to go watch
Heck
that.
yeah.
Can't wait to see the GOAT get It's great because it ends like with one of the roasters going, "We're coming for you, pretty boy." And Tom Brady puts on sunglasses and goes, "Go for it. I'm unroastable." And walks away. I think this is going to be so great. I can't wait to go watch this. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making this little show a part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those questions and super chats, whether you're one of our beloved YouTube channel members or you use the super chat. Number 1, because you gave us fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget to come on back and join us again tomorrow. I want to thank, of course, in the room, Ray
See you
Ora,
later.
Jonathan Voico,
See you guys.
writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer Burnett.
All right.
My name's John Campea, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.